To a big fight now breaking out in liberal Silicon Valley. Google, its workers in open revolt, demanding that Google stop working on military contracts. Nearly a dozen Google workers reportedly resigned in protests over the company's involvement in an artificial intelligence drone program for the Pentagon. This after a letter was signed by over 3,000 Google workers last month to the CEO, Sundar Pichai, saying in part, quote, "We believe Google should not be in the business of war. Therefore, we ask that Project Maven be canceled, that Google enforce a clear policy stating that neither Google nor its contractors will ever build warfare technology." Let's take a quick check of how shares of Google's parent company, Alphabet, did today. The company ended the day in the red. Let's bring in double amputee, wounded warrior, hero, retired Staff Sergeant Johnny Joey Jones. Good to see you, Sergeant. Your reaction to this?
Well, I think these people are being unpatriotic. I mean, can we imagine if Rosie DeRiveter said she wasn't going to build anything because their company shouldn't take war contracts? Or what about Ford Motor Company, something that many Americans use every single day, a vehicle? They build munitions even. And what we're talking about now is just allowing the Department of Defense access to technology and then perhaps building technology they can use to analyze surveillance. We're not talking about weapon systems or even anything in the sector of killing people. We're talking about analyzing information. To me, this is unpatriotic. If you're not willing to go out and defend this country, the least you can do is try to support those that do. And for them to take objection to this without any type of definite explanation just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
You know, to your point, Eric Schmidt, the co-founder of Google, sits at the Pentagon on an innovation board about technology. He is basically, to your point, saying we want good technology for the military to track what China is doing. You know, again, Google's slogan is, quote, "Do no evil." Is helping the military evil? I mean, Google workers are saying everything that is built for the Pentagon, one of my staffers just said, is going to kill somebody, or is it to keep people safe?
We have a Department of Defense. We no longer have a War Department. Those are two different things. To defend our country is to keep the people within this country safe. If that comes to the point of war, most of the time, if not every time, that's not our decisions. That's our enemy's decision. We're a benevolent country, and we're the largest and most powerful country because we treat other countries with respect in that manner. We don't send our men and women to war for no good reason. And what we're talking about specifically with this type of technology is a deterrence. It's to analyze information and get ahead of something before an attack happens or before bad guys show their ugly head. So for them to make that summation to say that having a defense contract means that you're killing people or doing something immoral is to say that every man and woman who raises their right hand in defense of this country is partaking in something immoral. I take personal offense to that, and good riddance. I'm glad they're resigning, and hopefully they'll get people in there that are patriotic and want to help us out.
You know, Sergeant, I want to get to a personal story of yours. You were recently turned away from your local VA with getting I think, a prescription or treatment that you needed. Tell us, wait, let me back up to tell the viewer, Sergeant, you lost both of your legs in a bomb blast while serving in Afghanistan 8 years ago. What happened at the VA?
Yeah, well, you know, I had one bad day in my 8 years of service. I accidentally stepped on a bomb, and every day since then hadn't been too bad. So my recovery went pretty swift, and I tried to make the best out of life, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. Part of that is I need pain medication. Right now I'm on a pain medication. I've been seeing a civilian doctor with TRICARE and Medicare, and with all the things going on with health care, my civilian doctor was no longer to take either of those. So I needed back in January to move my health care over to the VA. I started that process here in Newnan, Georgia, and over the last few months I've been told multiple times that once my prescription medication runs out, that I have an appointment in May, and between that point and May, I would need to go to a VA emergency room, present that prescription, that pill bottle, and they would fill it temporarily until that appointment. After 5.5 hours showing that pill bottle to multiple people and getting a pretty rude reception from a doctor, I was turned away and told they couldn't fill that prescription there. Since then, I have been in communication with, or administrators from both that AER and the Newnan Clinic here in Georgia have both reached out, apologized, explained their policies, explained that the doctor should have helped me. I really should have never been there for that cause to begin with. And,
what was the VA doing? By the way, a bunch of questions. How much pain are you in daily?
Well, not a lot of people with double above the knee amputees are on their legs 12 to 14 hours a day or work 60 hours a week. That's how I choose to live my life, and I enjoy every minute of it. From that comes a lot of sores. I have 2 open sores on one of my legs right now and just a whole lot of pain. Sometimes it gets to the point I just have to stay off my legs for a few days. But for me, if I can make that balance to where I'm productive and helping out other veterans, that's what I want to do.
I mean,
and that's the purpose for the pain medication.
You just saw firsthand the cultural problem, Sergeant, at the VA, right?
Absolutely.
Joey,
absolutely. It's
yeah. Go ahead.
It's tough because my visibility on Fox shouldn't be why senators and congressmen and the VA administrators reach back out to me. It should be because I've served my country and I deserve that health care. So that highlights the bigger problem, and hopefully we can fix it.
That's a good point. Sergeant Joey Jones, we love having you on, and thank you so much for your service to our country. Appreciate you, sir.